Live from the new Life Center studios in Coconut Creek, Florida, and Phoenix, Arizona, it's Nothing Worthwhile, giving you the latest news in pop culture, sports, entertainment, and professional wrestling. You know, all the crap you don't care about. Here's Evan Moody and Andrew Gruthius.
After these messages. You guys suck!
Kanye West grabs a reporter's camera and confronts her about his rights. What do you think of this?
Bianca has her free will. Some people are in your control.
Why do you feel like it's okay? I'm a human being. All of this TMZ, this 30 miles on, y'all set select, all this bullshit. I don't give a what y'all got to do. What y'all gonna do? What y'all got to say? Don't come at me with that shit, ask me that. You think you can walk up on me like that? Would you think that you a white woman, you can walk up on me like that and ask me some dumb shit like that? Asking me about my wife, talking about she got free will? Are you crazy? Was it wrong for you to ask me about my wife some dumb disrespectful shit like that? Was that wrong or right?
I'm sorry, Kanye. I just need my phone.
No. Answer the question. I'm supposed to answer your questions? Answer my question. I got your phone now.
Whoa, Kanye.
What's my first rule? Like yourself. Your weight doesn't matter. If you like yourself, you're gonna be fine. But I've been where you are right now. And where I'm right now is I just love myself. Every part of myself. And I think I can show you how to get here.
Please welcome Richard.
Vince McMahon, the infamous founder of World Wrestling Entertainment, has resigned as executive chairman of its parent company. The move came a day after McMahon was accused of sexual assault and sex trafficking in a lawsuit. A former WWE employee, Janelle Grant, claims she was physically and emotionally abused by McMahon. He's denied the allegations and says he's stepping down out of respect for the WWE universe.
I'm Matt Friend. I'm outside of Madison Square Garden asking Billy Joel's biggest fans what he means to them and how excited they are to hear his brand new single, Turn the Lights Back On. What does Billy Joel mean to you?
He means the world to me.
Huge Billy Joel fan.
I like his song, Uptown Girl.
He helped raise me with the likes of my two parents.
Pretty much the soundtrack of my life.
He's awesome.
I'm not from here. His songs here is very emotional for me because it reminds me to my dad.
He created music is passion.
How long have you been a Billy Joel fan?
All my life, pretty much.
You're going to be one of the first people in the world to listen to a sneak peek of Billy's new song.
It'd mean the world to me.
I would be on the moon.
Let's hear it.
Let's go, Billy.
No way.
I'm mad excited.
It's coming out next week.
No way.
Are you ready?
Yeah.
Okay, here we go. Ready?
He sounds as good as ever. This is fire. This is actually gas.
I like it.
We love you, Billy Joel!
The natural, the main theme. Andy and I were reminiscing a couple of podcasts ago when Billy Joel, that's his opener into his shows, and when the natural theme came out, the arena, the stadium was crackling with energy. Yeah. And then I saw Billy about a month ago with Stevie Nicks, and it was like people were walking, and I was like, "The natural's on!"
Well, yeah.
And everybody was like, "They were like, what are you talking about?" I'm like slapping my brother, and he's like, "Cut it out, dude."
Well, they do it differently. They do it differently now. It's I was actually, if you could see in the background, of my thing, you'll see a concert playing. It's this last one from the Tokyo, Tokyo, and just the way they do it, the way they did it when I first experienced it, which was River of Dreams tour. I remember
Lights out.
Stormfront lights were out, just went right into Stormfront. But I remember River of Dreams. You'd hear the. Now I'm familiar with the natural music before Billy Joel. So you hear it, and it's different from the little pre-show rock and roll they've been playing for a while. So you're hearing it, and then midway through during that first, the lights go down. So now it's pitch fucking black, and this bombastic Randy Newman score, iconic score, is playing, and then on that, that's when the band members kind of scurry out, but you can't really see them, and then on the dun 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 dun, the spotlight comes on Billy, and he walks out with a guitar. And he goes into either No Man's Land or Matter of Trust, depend on what night you were there. And that was the way they used to do it. Now
mix all the way down.
Either way. But the look worked. The look worked when you did it right. Now it's like the lights are all the way up, and then they kind of like flake down a little bit, and it's like, it's like nothing's going on. It's just, then all of a sudden, hey, there he is. Okay, I don't care what you say anymore. This is, everyone's like, ah, So it's just, I don't know. It's not nearly as atmospheric as it was years ago.
Well, speaking of Billy Joel, Groo, welcome to Nothing Worthwhile, episode number 119 on today's show. We will give you all of our thoughts on the return of the Piano Man, Billy Joel, with Turn the Lights Back On. And we are going to turn these podcast lights back on because I'm in a mood this morning. Andy and I are raring to go. A lot to talk about. And so, Groo, how the hell are you, my friend?
I'm doing okay. I've actually been a little under the weather for the last couple of days.
Me too. Me too.
I've had not sick, but I've had like a small head cold, which I think has kind of. Does a head cold ever give you any kind of symptoms of vertigo? Is that weird?
Oh no!
Is that should I call somebody?
Listen, yeah, you better call Pops Moody. He got it really bad, like in his 50s, and when he was telling me the story, it was so outlandish, I was laughing. But he had to like call his secretary and her husband to come over and like come to his house and prop him up on like an office chair. And my dad had it really bad, and he went on medicine, and now it's manageable. He gets it a little bit here and there, but vertigo's nothing to.
Well, I don't know if it's vertigo. It's just like a little bit of dizziness, like upon sudden movement. But it's like directly connected with this cold. Like that's when it started. Like halfway through this cold. So, but I'm feeling fine. So, if you don't hear from me for 48 hours, call somebody. But I'm doing fine. It's raining outside, so I don't feel a bit bad about staying inside today like I usually do. So it's rainy Sunday here in Coconut Creek, Florida, but all is well. How about yourself? Why are you so fired up today? Look at you.
I pulled a muscle in my leg.
Oh boy.
It is through my glute and through my lower back. And before Marie went out, before she went out, she was like, "Get on the couch, take off your pants."
That's hot.
She had cream. I'm bent over
Evan,
the ottoman
wait,
of the couch.
save some for the honeymoon. Jesus.
Yeah, it was like an episode of Pulp Fiction.
Break out the gimp.
I was like, I was waiting to see Uncle Cecil. With
you got
nice
a pretty mouth. Show me them oceanside hips of yours. Yeehaw!
Yeah. So, and actually, it's cloudy here. It's been rainy out here in Phoenix the last couple of days. I guess, as everybody says, we need the rain. So, so anyway, cloudy too. So yeah, we're going to stay in, and we're going to hit you up with some podcast magic. Before we turn the lights back on, Groo, let's get to it. 5 things, 6 things, 7 things we're talking about this week. It's Nothing Worthwhile, the week that was.
UU Life Center presents Nothing Worthwhile, the week that was.
All right, guys, the week that was is brought to you by New You Life Center. Begin a new you. Check out all of their medical weight loss programs at www.newlifecenters.com or give them a call at 602-274-0068. Tell them Evan Moody and Andrew Groo sent you and receive a big 15% off your first service. We want to thank Marie, Erica, Desiree, Brian, Shelby, Dr. Cynthia, and the rest of the New You team. A big thank you to New You Life Center. All right, so I want to open up a call Weathers, but before we get to that, I was hit up on, I'll just save it for the show, Facebook Messenger. They want to do a compilation so could you clip our thoughts on Carl Weathers and send that to me so I could send it to, or do we have to do like a separate recording?
We can do it. I can do it.
All right.
Do we have a deadline?
Well,
now they're giving us fucking homework. All of a sudden, we're part of the network. Okay.
Well, could we get it into him by the end of the day?
I think I could do it. I think I could do it. I think I could do it.
All right. Well, here we'll start from here. I'll intro it. Hi, this is Evan Moody and Andrew Groo from the Van Dammit podcast on the Last of the Action Heroes podcast network. We are on our Nothing Worthwhile with Moody and Groo podcast. Our friends at the Last of the Action Hero podcast network messaged me on Friday, and it was not good. Carl Weathers, who was best known for playing Apollo Creed in the Rocky movies, has died. Let me read you some of my notes. He was 76 years old. Quoting Deadline, the family said the following: "We are deeply saddened to announce the passing of Carl Weathers. He died peacefully in his sleep on Thursday, February 1st, 2024. Carl was an exceptional human being who lived an extraordinary life. Through his contributions to film, television, the arts, and sports, he left an indelible mark and is recognized worldwide and across generations." Carl Weathers had a 50-year career in movies and television with notable roles including The Predator, Happy Gilmore, Mandalorian. He first appeared in the iconic role of Apollo Creed in 1976 Rocky, before reprising the role in 1979's Rocky II, 1982's Rocky III, before the character was killed off in the ring by Ivan Drago in 1984's Rocky IV. The Apollo Creed character legacy is still ongoing as Michael B. Jordan plays Apollo Creed's son in the Creed movies. We've seen 3 Creed movies with a 4th movie apparently still coming. Very sad news indeed. Groo, your thoughts? Carl Weathers dead at the age of 76.
Well, I guess in the end there really is no tomorrow. Thank you. Sorry,
my God.
Too soon. Well, you and I as movie fans and as wrestling fans, we know that you can't have a hero without a great villain or an antagonist. And to be the antagonist that gave birth to one of the biggest and most widely known, globally known franchises in the history of entertainment, it could only have been the way it was. And without Carl Weathers, that doesn't happen. And he introduced himself to the world that didn't know him already from the football field as this unbelievably charismatic kind of guy who just made anything work, whether it was comedy with Happy Gilmore or action with Predator, or just a redeemable villain in Apollo Creed, who was never beyond redemption, which always to me make the greatest villains. But if you look past all that, first of all, I'm glad that people are realizing that he was also a phenomenal football player. His career got cut short. But also, if you look at him after, he's been part of The Mandalorian, but he's kind of slowed down, I guess, as an actor. But as an activist, and he's a constant presence on social media, just being just such a positive. If you look at things that he posts, it's just all positives and all just about peace and whatever. And it's a great loss. It's a bummer that these big tough guys, they don't live as long as do you know what I mean? I think it's a natural thing. It's like an Andre the Giant kind of thing. It's like the bigger you are, the harder it is on your organs, I guess. It's something medical. I don't know. But why am I getting into that?
Yeah, what a tribute. Unbelievable.
Rest in peace, Carl Weathers. Thanks for everything. A life incredibly lived.
Yeah, I mean, I agree with you. My thoughts are, if you created a action star in a lab, Carl Weathers would probably be formulated. I mean, he had the physicality and the brawn and the masculinity of action stars that guys and girls like to see. Yet, as Andy talked about, he definitely had the acting chops. He gobbled up the screen when he was on the screen. And as Andy noted, Happy Gilmore pulls off comedy. The Rocky movies pulls off action and the acting chops. And The Mandalorian. So he stayed relevant pretty much throughout his entire career. And when I was messaged on Friday about his death, I actually said, I'm really, really bummed. Really, really bummed to see this because, again, it's another marker of time as we get older and our heroes are passing. And we know that we're getting older and everyone's time on this earth is a finite amount. So I echo Andy's sentiments and I say rest in peace to Carl Weathers, dead at the age of 76.
Yeah, and one more thing. He's one of the he's one of very few of these athletes who cross over who actually got to the top and led his own movie in Action Jackson. And that's a pretty incredible feat. So I'll cut it. I'll cut our tribute at year 76. All right. Don't worry about
all right. Thank you. Let's see. Well, let's go from sad to even sadder. You want to talk a little bit more about Vince McMahon?
Yeah, it's the elephant in the room besides me.
All right, I got a full deal. So give me a couple of minutes to read over. But as we stated on our last episode of Van Dam It, it's getting real ugly with Vincent Kennedy McMahon, the founder of Modern World Wrestling Entertainment. We know that McMahon, 78, swiftly resigned from his position of executive chairman of the board at the TKO Group last Friday, a day after a bombshell civil lawsuit was filed against him by a former WWE employee that accused Vince of the following: sexual abuse, trafficking her to other WWE employees, and even defecating on her during a threesome in May 2020. Unbelievable. The former employee, Janelle Grant, is accusing McMahon of causing her physical harm with his fists and other objects, including sexual toys, along with locking her in a WWE office before he and another WWE executive took turns sexually assaulting her, according to the lawsuit. She's also accusing McMahon in the lawsuit of... I'm sorry there. Accusing McMahon of forcing her into sexual relationships to keep her job and passing around pornographic pictures and videos to her of other men, including fellow WWE employees. Vince, of course, has made statements saying that the lawsuit is replete with lies, obscene, made-up instances that never occurred. But what I wanted to touch upon is now... this week, specifically Friday, co-defendant John Laurinaitis had his turn, as now he is claiming he's also a victim of McMahon's actions and a stunning turn against the ex-WWE honcho. Quoting John Laurinaitis' lawyer, Edward Brennan, Mr. Laurinaitis denies the allegations in the misguided complaint and will be vigorously defending these charges in court, not the media. Like the plaintiff, Mr. Laurinaitis is a victim in this case, not a predator. The truth will come out. Groo, you may know that John Laurinaitis is the stepfather of former WWE stars Nikki and Brie Garcia, better known as the Bella Twins. This Friday, it also came out that Vince McMahon is now under federal investigation by New York prosecutors over the sexual assault and sex trafficking allegations. A WWE probe found McMahon has paid already $14.6 million to several women who accused him of sexual misconduct. Woo! I'm going to take a sip of my black coffee. Groo, let's put a bow on this. For now, any final thoughts on the Vince McMahon scandal?
Yeah, well, it sounds to me like this is what's happening. Laurinaitis, who, by the way, is also the brother of Joe Laurinaitis, the late Joe Laurinaitis, Animal from, Hawk. No, Animal from the Road Warriors. And that's Johnny Ace, right?
That is Johnny Ace, yes, sir.
So what it seems to me, look, it would be hypocritical for us to say that it's innocent until proven guilty, blah 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 blah. We all know who Vince McMahon is. All right, so I'm not on a jury, so I can be biased, and I'm going to presume that this shit happened. And I'm going to say, you want to go ahead? No, if you want to jump in, please.
No. I'm listening to you. No,
okay, I can't.
I've been on record saying I believe the allegations as well.
Yeah,
he's had patterns of behavior.
Yes. If I were a jury, could I be unbiased? Yes, I can. I can examine evidence as far as for a trial. But from my position, here's what I think happened. Laurinaitis is Vince's number 2, and he owes Vince everything. And if Vince says, "Hey, man, get in there and fuck this broad," he's going to do it. And that's the card he's going to play. He's going to play, I was just doing what I was told. That and I believe it too. That's what I think is happening here, because you can't do the things that Janelle Grant is describing in her lawsuit that Laurinaitis did without that element of it, and still claim to be a victim. There's just no. I don't know. Maybe I'm blind to something, but there's no gray area there unless you were following orders, and that's what I really truly feel. That's what this was. But I can see that you somewhat disagree. So I'm curious to hear what you have to say.
Do you think in 2024 following orders is going to wash with a jury of peers? Because I don't.
Yes, and for the same reason, I'm not going to say yes. I'm going to say possibly for the same reason that do you ever question in your mind why anything about the victim here, Janelle Grant, and her story? Like, there are a couple little things in there.
I don't really want to get into that.
Right, but that's my point. My point is there are. There are multiple perspectives.
All right, but you asked me a question. I'm giving you. I don't feel in 2024 I was ordered to do something vile, rape, harassment. I don't think that's going to wash with a jury, and I don't buy it. I don't buy that John Laurinaitis is a victim here.
Okay, no, I agree with you on. All right, I'm going to agree with you on both of those counts. You're right. In 2024, a jury is not going to buy it. But I still believe, to an extent, that's why Laurinaitis got involved in this stuff. I'm not saying he didn't enjoy the hell out of it, but I'm saying that he knew he was doing wrong. And if it wasn't Vince telling him to do it, he wouldn't do it. I'm
okay. And if you're telling me that,
that's what I think happened here.
If you're telling me that that's the way that the attorneys are going to go to craft a defense, okay, I'm not buying it. It's one thing to know that the boss is doing something and not take part in it, and then it's one thing to know the boss is doing something really bad and take part in it. And I think this is probably Laurinaitis's attorneys trying to pitch a last-second defense, and that's my take on it.
Can I just offer this up? You got to think you got to think a little bit of who you're dealing with here. Okay, remember this is only a few years ago when Vince McMahon was literally a godlike figure who could seemingly get out of anything, had the money and resources to destroy lives if he wanted to. And you're working for the guy, whether it's in the mailroom or whether as his number 2 person. And you know that if you don't do as you're told, and go the other way and report it or do something that your life is going to, if he's going down, you're going down too. You can't put yourself in those shoes.
No, I don't see it that way. I see it as two old boys, and they're going to have their fun. And I don't even really want to get into. You're taking me into an uncomfortable position right now that I don't want to, because I'm not an attorney, but I'm not buying John Laurinaitis' defense. I'm not buying it in the least, and it's his attorney making a last ditch effort. They did something, if the allegations are indeed true, very, very wrong. And in 2024, my boss told me, I'm really surprised. My boss told me so.
Yeah.
It's one thing to steal a stapler. It's one thing to do what Vince is being alleged and Laurinaitis took part in.
And that's what makes it so much more horrific. But you know what? You're right. It's not going to work. Because it shouldn't work. It's like Nuremberg. It's the same shit. To me, that's what it's like. I was following orders. Well, guess what?
But you're
you know what's legal and illegal. So whether you're following orders or not ain't gonna fucking work. And you're absolutely right.
But I don't understand your point. One point you're saying,
I think that's why he did it. My point is, I think that's why he did it in the beginning. But it's not a defense, and it won't work, and he's still going to go to prison if he's investigated. He's at least going to lose this lawsuit, absolutely, and rightly so. I'm saying that
it's a civil.
Yeah, he's going to lose. He's going to lose. He's going to lose, or he's going to settle for the $7 he probably has in his wallet now. But and good for him. Fuck him. They're both scumbags.
Well, again, It's alleged, but what I'm saying, I'm just not buying that defense, and probably what's going to happen is Vince McMahon is going to pay a lot of money, and it's going to go away, and the WWE is going to be left with how they manage this scandal moving forward, because as I start to read more and more about it, I think more and more people are going to be affected, and I think for sure some people are going to go down, and we'll see. We'll see.
There's one I think is on his way out already.
Well, I think Bruce Pritchard is done for sure, and I wouldn't be surprised if somehow, unfortunately, Triple H's name gets thrown in there at least.
How could it not be?
Well, we'll see. So, all right, Andrew. Oh gosh. Speaking of the WWE, last Saturday night, February 27th, was the 2024 Royal Rumble. We gave you our picks. Now it's time to reflect on those picks and give our quick thoughts on the matches. Bayley wins the WWE Women's Royal Rumble. I did pick Bayley. I believe you picked Nia Jax. Forget about the picks. What was your thoughts overall with the Women's Royal Rumble?
Well, the Women's Royal Rumble was the match of the night. It was the most exciting from beginning to end. Even though I didn't know like 27 out of 30 participants, it was still wild. It had its incredible moments. Bayley was clear. It was clear the way they were. These Royal Rumbles are now unfortunately a little bit overbooked. You can sort of telegraph and see where they're going. So it was clear that once Bayley was in there, she was positioned to win. And I credit you with that pick. I wanted Nia just because I love this comeback story. It's very rare that somebody comes back as such an effective heel. Usually a comeback story is centered around like a big, face turn. So I love what I'm seeing, and I'm looking forward to seeing it. But the right person won, and it was a story from beginning to end. I really, truly enjoyed the match. So I'm glad that Bayley won, even though that's not who I picked.
Agree with all your sentiments. Bayley was the right pick. It was a pick based on her long career, and she's really not had that kind of upfront WrestleMania match. Well deserving. Nia Jax, man, WWE is all about momentum, and Nia Jax has made she's taken advantage of this additional opportunity with WWE, and I was not a fan of hers. I felt like, she was just a big gal, dangerous in the ring, was known really for that. And this run has been phenomenal. I agree. I'm suddenly rooting for her, and I'll be interested to see where they go with Nia Jax. And finally, the women's. I don't even think it was close. The women's Rumble was by far the best match of the night, and a lot of surprises. Jordynne Grace, the TNA Impact Women's Champion, loved her. I've seen her before a little bit on YouTube and on the Indies, and I think she may end up in WWE at some point full time. And Jade Cargill, good spot for her. She came in 27, 28, 26, wherever she was, had some good spots, eliminated Nia, got eliminated herself. Good move there. Give us a little taste, get her out. And, of course, Liv Morgan at 30 was great to see her come back. So I thought the Women's Rumble offered some surprises and some dips and turns. But, yes, overall was very, very happy to see Bayley win.
Yep. Good.
All right.
So what was the next match?
WWE. Look at him. He's like, I want the next match.
No, I mean we
yeah, babe. Well, like Richard Bell's like, yeah, babe.
Should that have been the lead off?
Women's Rumble?
Yeah.
Yeah, I think it was good.
Yeah.
I think it was good. I think your opening and your closing, in theory, should be your biggest two. WWE Undisputed Championship Fatal 4-Way. Roman Reigns defeated AJ Styles, LA Knight, Randy Orton, and retains the WWE Undisputed Universal Championship. I'll take this one first.
Okay.
I did predict Roman Reigns. The only thing is, well laid out match. All the veterans got their spots, but I'm just getting a little dragged down by the Solo Sikoa interference into Roman Reigns spear pin. It's a nice formula, but it's a formula that I've seen literally 4 or 5 times now. I'm a little bit over it. With that being said, that's all I have to really say about it. I'm going to keep my mouth shut. There you go.
Yeah, it wasn't a good match, and I really wasn't expecting it to be, because I just don't like it's like a cop out. It's like, how do we get all these guys in the ring and make it make sense? And it didn't even make sense. There was no other possible outcome other than Roman Reigns winning his title. And I even predicted who he would pin, and that was AJ. And
that's correct.
And it was like an excuse to have him on the card, because people say he hasn't been working enough, and he hasn't. And at least that's been acknowledged on television at this point. But there was no stakes to this match, so why even bother talking about it? It wasn't that it wasn't fun to watch. There were parts. Randy Orton giving RKOs to people is always great. I fucking love Randy Orton.
All right. Great.
What?
Great.
You don't? Now, all of a sudden, you don't like Randy Orton?
No, I just know where you're going to go. He loves Randy Orton, and
No. I'm just saying it was fun to watch, but in the end, it didn't advance anything anywhere. So, it's not what people are going to be. It's the last thing people were talking about coming out of a major pay-per-view, the WWE champion. So, what does that tell you?
Look, I mean, we know for the most part, year after year, where they're going to go. It's just a question of if they do it well. Bayley, we kind of knew that she would at least be in the strong mix. They did it well. Here, it's just a little dry. I'm just getting sick of
it. It's a lot dry. It's exactly what you're saying. You're giving them too much credit. They've been working this angle for 3 years, and this is the best they can come up with, time after time. If the well runs dry, then you got to change direction, not just keep writing the same script. But as long as people keep spending the money and buying the merch and whatever, I guess money's money. So, what am I to say? But I agree with you on all counts.
As Billy Joel once said, every year's a souvenir.
Oh, yeah.
Slowly.
It's a rare gem we get from him. Very rare.
Groo for the WWE United States Championship. Logan Paul defeated Kevin Owens by disqualification, brass knucks. Why don't you take a stab at it, my friend?
Wow, you're so uninterested in all of this. Man. This was it was a lot of fun.
You want me to tell you what I thought of it?
Well, that's that is part
My
of this
thoughts
thing.
were exactly your thoughts. DQ, unsatisfying, and for two guys that I really like, it just was unsatisfying.
It was
That's how I
unsatisfying, still fun to watch, and I got to give credit to Bully Ray on this one. I think I did love that they finally acknowledged, or they finally did something where a ref sees, like
I know.
I kind of liked it. I kind of liked that part of it, but in the end, it did the same thing that the Fatal 4-Way did. Nothing. It got us nowhere. It was just make the pay-per-view the fucking Rumble and put all your money on that one, on the women's and the men's. So that way they could be longer instead. Well, I'll say that thought to get to when you get to, which is now, to get to the men's Rumble and the problem.
Well, my only question. Well, my only question about Logan Paul Owens. Do you think you're going to see a blow-off match at Mania? Do you think you'll see those two guys?
I mean,
right,
otherwise,
yes. Yes.
Well, otherwise, if you don't, or at least in one of the PLEs coming up, or do you have Kevin Owens walking away having been beaten by a part-timer, who is not Roman Reigns? So yes, I do think they will meet again. I did think Owens will be the U.S. champion by the end of Mania, just like somebody on the other side will be the IC champion. I think that'll be Mania will be the transitional weekend of the year for the WWE.
He just can't save himself for.
What do you mean?
For. All right. Well, we'll probably cover all this anyway. So, yeah. All right, let's go. Men's Royal Rumble. Cody Rhodes. I'll give you my thoughts. I had said basically. I think I had said like Punk 50%, Gunther 40%, Rhodes 10%. So I didn't mind Cody Rhodes winning. They're setting him up to be the face of the company, not the face, but a face like John Cena. They reference, I think it's been 25 years since the Stone Cold won 2 Rumbles ago. So I'm just going to focus on the Rumble win right now. It didn't really have a lot of twists and turns or special guests like the women's side did, so it was just a little drier. And I just, when Punk and Cody Rhodes squared off, I didn't feel that anticipation that maybe I thought I should feel, or the crowd. It didn't feel like two iconic guys squaring off. But nonetheless, I don't really have a problem with Cody Rhodes winning the men's Royal Rumble. There.
I agree with you. I'll go a little further. I was actually disappointed in it. It's not just this Rumble. It's the nature of Royal Rumbles in the past few years. They're basically spot and story fests. Instead of telling the stories in between all the melee, they kind of have to clear everybody out and make them into like mini matches. And then, so it's like point A, point B, point C, but it's too clean. It's too, all right, now it's turning here. The Royal Rumble used to be just that. It used to be just a big mess of these guys beating the shit out of each other, and then somebody would get a leg up on somebody, and everybody would cheer, and then somebody would come over and screw with them, and it was all things like that. And then, of course, the eliminations were these major things, but they didn't have these like mini, matches where everybody would hit their finishers. It was like, you don't need to, in my mind, you don't need to do that. So that's why the Rumble felt, the Rumbles feel a little off to me. As far as the finish, perfectly fine with it. At least I was. So I'm sticking with the Rumble. It was a terrific finish, emotional finish. It could have gone either way. I think we both picked Punk, correct?
I did.
Then didn't I? Yeah, I picked Punk too.
You did pick. Yeah, you put yes.
Yeah. But Cody being put in that, I love what they're doing with Cody. Everything you said, they are pushing him to be, and he has worked for it, and he will get there. So this worked absolutely beautifully for that quote unquote story, and I'm getting a little tired of them calling it a story also, but it was the finish was absolutely fine, and match was as far as Royal
that's
Rumbles
the thing.
go.
Yeah, that's the thing. I do agree with you. They can be a bit overproduced, and it's like spot fest after spot fest. You could sort of read the entrant comes in, gets the hot run into the ring, knocks a couple people down, maybe eliminates one person, then they get knocked to the ground, and then until the next person. So I agree. It's like it's sort of overproduced. But since you went there, let's just go with this, and then we could lead into some final discussions. Groo CM Punk tore his tricep Saturday night during the Men's Royal Rumble, ending any chance he will main event WrestleMania 40, and puts him on the sidelines for the foreseeable future. The article does talk about, I'm not going to read all of it, he had a couple of major injuries as well with All Elite Wrestling, some happening in the ring, some happening, as we know, outside of the ring. And so that could dovetail into Friday Night Smackdown. My thoughts on the CM Punk injury just on the surface is I'm starting to think that this guy is a little bit snake bit. And at 45 years old, he's had some major injuries at AEW, and he had a limited schedule there. And, he's in his first really major televised ring return for the WWE and tours his triceps. I'm not counting him out. I'm not saying his career is done, but at 45, it's just reading and knowing what I know about his career, and he took 10 years off, and you don't get those reps. And it's, you could look at it and say, well, his body is fresh. He didn't have the rigor on his body for 10 years. Or you could also say, hey, sports is a rhythm thing, and he hasn't had that either. And so as a fan, I'm starting to wonder, is this guy snake bit? Is he injury prone? I hope he's not. I hope to see him back. But there are my thoughts on CM Punk.
Well, he is injury prone, but you will see him back. He'll keep coming back, and he'll fight, and he'll get hurt, and he'll go away again, just like all these guys do. Rollins is hurt now too. Isn't there still a question of whether he's making it to WrestleMania? Doesn't he need surgery? Yes, they all get hurt. So, this, and unfortunately the timing of this.
This is big.
But is it any different about, Cody got injured a few months into his return when he came out and fought with the torn pec and elevated him to, monumental status.
But you didn't listen to what I said, though.
Yeah, sure I did.
He had some major injuries in AEW. Yes. He's had patterns of major injuries. I get Cody, and I get Seth. Now, Seth did have the knee injury in 2014. He tried to powerbomb Kane. All right, but I'm talking about in the last couple of years, CM Punk has been on the shelf with surgeries. It's like year after year. He's not really been able to build any momentum. So
he's also 15 years older than these guys, and yes, he's more injury prone, but he did take a bad fall. We see where he took the hit, I think. I think was something with Drew McIntyre, if I remember correctly. What I want to know is, and this goes into, I think, Raw the next day. For a legit injury, for them to, they had to be so careful with what they did. Well, I was shocked, to be quite honest.
Here's what probably went down. He got cleared by medical, and they cleared him for the physicality would have not made that injury any worse. And so they've done this before, where they've led into it. A guy or a girl's been injured, and they've done a spot to kind of storyline write him out. But I'm pretty sure, knowing what I know about the WWE, their doctors said, you know what? If they did a quick spot, even if it's a little bit rough, it's not going to cause the injury, make the injury any worse, if that makes sense.
Yeah, it does. It makes absolute sense. Because I was sitting there like, ow! And you know me, I love dismemberment and destruction. But even I was like, oh no, don't do that. What are you doing, Drew? But then I'm like, yeah, Drew, there you go. That's what we've been looking for. The Mad Scotsman.
All right, Andy. Let's spin off, so to speak, from the week that was, and let's just talk about it. You asked me about it off air. We've had Monday Night Raw. We've had Friday Night Smackdown. I'll let you set up the set up the segment, and you tell me where you want to go.
Okay, well, all this time, at least the story that the WWE's been telling is all sides are leading from Cody Rhodes winning the Royal Rumble to, quote, finishing his story at WrestleMania by facing Roman Reigns and winning the championship title that Roman Reigns has, which is the title that Dusty Rhodes, his father, never won. And that is, I believe, where the WWE was headed. That is until Friday night, where I believe what took place was a pivot spurred by the newly signed executive board member Dwayne "The Rock" Johnson, who is now, in my opinion, exercising a certain level of creative control over the product, and said, I believe that the biggest match that we have at a time when we need the biggest match that we have is myself versus my cousin, Joe Inoue, a.k.a. Roman Reigns, the current WWE Universal Champion.
Oh, my God.
And it looks like that is what's happening at WrestleMania. Now, on Friday Night Smackdown, Cody Rhodes was introduced, and his job was to reveal his decision for who he was going to face for a title at WrestleMania, as he is owed, having won his second Royal Rumble back-to-back. And instead of making that decision, he informed everybody that his objective was to take not only the title from Roman Reigns, but everything from Roman Reigns, but it wouldn't be at WrestleMania. And then he refers to someone he spoke to and got counseled by, and then you hear, if you smell what The Rock is cooking, and
right,
the
we
place
know what
goes
happened.
well, you said set it up, so I'm setting it up.
Oh my
God.
And
the place goes bonkers. Interestingly enough, everybody in Alabama goes bonkers, and everybody sitting on their phones and their computers in front of their TVs goes apeshit. And that's where we are. We're at an extremely beautifully divisive time in WWE. You got this match, and here's my final thought on it. You have this match that the entire WWE has been begging for years. Now you've got it, and they don't want it. I understand why. The timing is way off. But I'm interested, at the absolute minimum, I'm fascinated by how many different ways they could go with this and what they can use as far as the realism of the backlash. I got to think their wheels are turning. They're not just going to make a decision, okay, they don't like this, so we'll go this way. They're going to use this. Like, Cody's going to do something. Cody's going to make the promo of his life on Monday and, do something with all this. I don't know. But I don't agree with the decision that was, I believe, made by The Rock. I think the right way to go was to have Cody beat Roman at WrestleMania. I think you think the same thing. But
you asking me because you've been talking for the 7 minutes setting up.
Well, you said you threw it to me. You said set it up and then give your thoughts.
On the seventh day, God said, "Let there be light." E plebis unum.
Well, speaking of the Undertaker,
all right. Well, you've pretty much laid out. I hate it.
Really?
And it's I slept on it, and I've hated it just a little bit less.
Ooh.
And I hate to say it, but
tell me more. Come on.
Maybe it's good that I am not going to WrestleMania this
year.
Oh
no! Don't start this shit. No, don't start. What you're going to do this to me?
Because you've asked me as a fan to invest 2 years into this story. Okay, now I'm going to lay out everything. I'm going to lay out everything as best I can. And
no. You can hate it, but don't start saying I don't want to watch anymore. Like, this is all we have. God damn it!
I said I didn't say that. I'll be watching, but I feel like they've booked themselves into a corner for the two main events, and I'm going to tell you why. Number one, Rollins' promo on Monday really foreshadowed what was going to happen when he called it the Hollywood belt, and he sort of degraded Roman Reigns. So I didn't really even care for that promo. He calls himself the workhorse champion. He's not really a workhorse champion. As compared to Roman Reigns, fine. Bad comparison. It's not like Seth Rollins is on television every week defending the title, because he's not. Now, the WWE, I get it, and I've called The Rock the greatest of all time. Just not here. When you've asked me to commit 2 years, I don't see in storyline, Cody Rhodes is a competitor. He's going to step back and say, oh, you know what, Dwayne, you go ahead and take my spot at WrestleMania. You're asking me you're asking me essentially John McEnroe to go.
It's the Bret Hart Hogan thing.
Excuse me, may I finish?
Right?
You're asking, John McEnroe to go, you know what, I'm facing Bjorn Borg at Wimbledon. Jimmy Connors, take my spot because you're more deserving. I don't buy into it. You're asking me now to buy into at Mania. You're going to get it anyway, but Roman Reigns, 36 years old, in the middle of an unprecedented dominating run of over 3.5 years. Sure, he's won a couple of times chicken shit, but it's been a run. That he's going to go up against a 51-year-old Rock. I mean, if The Rock wins, I'm rioting. I'm never watching. I'm watching TNA. I'll be a TNA fan for the rest of my life. And number two, with Cody and Seth Rollins, Cody Rhodes has beaten Seth Rollins now 3 times in a row. Storyline with a blown-out pec beat him. And now you're asking me at full strength. So the only way you might as well lean into the Seth Rollins broken back deal, because to me you're booking yourself. There's only 2 options. Cody and Roman have to win at Mania, and I guess I don't know. Maybe you want to unify the title somewhere down the line and finish his story, but I don't like it. I calmed down a little bit, but when I first saw it, I was like literally just almost nauseated, because it feels like a very defensive booking here. Whether Dwayne "The Rock" Johnson called his card, or they went, oh my God, Vince McMahon scandal, CM Punk injury, we break emergency glass for superstar. I'm not against it. I'm just against it here. And I think the Rock is going to get booed out of the building in Philly, as probably well he should be. So I'll give you credit if they go with it. And you want to maybe lean into The Rock as a heel or something like that, because that's where you got to go with it. But to me, the booking here has got to be Cody and Roman winning out of Mania, and anything less, I'm gonna be pissed. There.
Well, I'm just gonna say I have a question for you, but preceding that question, I'm gonna go even further and say I still expect and want more than anything to Cody walk out of WrestleMania with Roman's title. I'm going to say it's going to happen somehow. I don't know how. I think they're going to pivot in some way, but they're going to make it look like it was all planned beforehand. And that leads me to my question, because I don't think that they went into the Rumble thinking that they were going to do this. All this happened within a few days of each other. But then on Monday, CM Punk gave that promo where he basically said this exact thing. He said, to Cody in the ring, he said, just when you think you're going to be right there, somebody is going to take it right from you. Like, literally, that was at the promo on Monday. Do you remember? Did you see it?
Well, I thought McIntyre cut the promo with CM Punk.
No, when was Cody in the ring with Punk?
Oh, I think that was at the end of the show.
Yeah. And he basically spelled this entire thing out for him.
I don't remember that. I remember McIntyre promo on Punk, and then beats him down, and then Cody and Seth Rollins had their promo. I guess I don't know where they placed it.
Maybe what I'm thinking of goes back even further, and in that case, Punk called it. But like you, I am hopeful that it reverts towards something that more in line that serves what you said, and like we've been investing ourselves in this, and then it's almost like a movie, giving you 8,000 red herrings and then throwing a killer from who you never met before and you have no idea has anything to do with anything. But like you said, right thing to do, way wrong time. Couldn't be worse. One more question, and then we'll move to Billy Joel. I could see your lips trembling there.
No.
One more question, and this is something I've heard around the talk community. Do you think that this could turn into like a Daniel Bryan WrestleMania 30 kind of yes movement thing to sort of
with who?
With Cody. Like they clearly listen to the fans and they what was it with Triple H, right? They I don't know what happened.
Yeah, I don't see that. I don't see that there because it's Dwayne "The Rock" Johnson. So
yeah,
they're putting the biggest star out there, and I think he's going to get booed out of Philly. Philly fans are notoriously fickle, and I think he's going to get booed out the building. And if you now listen, where they go with it creatively, I mean, sure, could they spice it up? Sure, but I'm just not a fan of the placement here. I'm just not.
Agreed.
Not with Cody. And I think very defensive booking, and the Rollins Cody thing I don't like much better because we've got
I don't want that
matches.
at all. I want Cody to give up his time. I want Cody to say give up the title opportunity and say no, I'm going for that one. I'll let you get rid of your family business and then I'll take what's left of you and destroy it. Maybe something like that. I don't know.
I don't see that happening because he's a major.
Because then what do you do with Drew? Drew's the hot money there is Drew and Seth, isn't it? Don't you think?
Well, that's where they should have. They should have had a man goes down, next man up mentality like sports teams, and you would have looked at Drew McIntyre or perhaps Gunther to get have trust in your roster. And instead, I feel like I said, it was a very defensive, sort of scared booking. And that's it. I don't really have much more to add.
Do you think there's any merit to the idea that it's not really Triple H in full control anymore? Because that's always, when has that worked out? When has it worked out when a competitor was in charge of the biggest ideas of the shows? When has that ever worked out?
I'm not saying that The Rock hasn't influenced control, but I think that they signed off on it, and I don't see them giving unilateral creative to Dwayne The Rock Johnson. But he's the biggest name out there, so are they going to pander to him?
But he's also on the board now. That's the thing. That's
Andy,
the thing.
I'm giving you my answer.
No, but you got to. I mean, he's technically one of the bosses. That's the thing that is just so ironic about this whole thing.
Well, we'll see how it goes, but I'm not really I'm not jazzed up about it. Not really that jazzed up about it. So,
all right. Anybody out there want to go to WrestleMania with me? Because I think I'm losing my partner here. He seems to be very pessimistic about the future of.
Well, I
WWE.
can't go this year. I can't go this year. So
whose fucking fault is that?
Well, I apologize. Let me ask you one last thing before we go. Before we get into Billy, another musical
before
act.
we get into the actual topic.
Groo, Dead and Company will come back to life this spring with a 14-show residency at James Dolan's. Groo, Dead and Company will come back to life this spring with a 14-show residency at James Dolan's Las Vegas Sphere. The $2.3 billion Sphere, which is owned by Knicks and Rangers owner James Dolan, which is spun off from Madison Square Garden, was looking to book a long-running act following U2 and their 40-show run. Dead and Company, which includes former Grateful Dead founding member Bob Weir and guitarist John Mayer, will begin their residency in May. Dead and Company's expected return, which was previously reported by the New York Post, comes after the band played their, quote, final show July 16th at San Francisco's Oracle Park. that was billed as the final stop of their farewell tour. On last Tuesday, the LED-covered venue flashed the psychedelic colors and the Steely logo made famous by the Grateful Dead and its legendary guitarist Jerry Garcia. The band's Instagram page on Wednesday posted a video of a tie-dye lit sphere with the not-so-cryptic message, in 2023, Dead and Company played their final tour, but there are other ways to make sure that the music never stops, and it's going to be a ball. John Mayer, of course, was on CNN New Year's Eve show because he's like best buddies with Andy Cohen, and Andy did ask about the band's upcoming plans, and John Mayer said, "I'm not at liberty to say just yet." Groo, the Dead and Company to cash out in Vegas? Thoughts?
Well, the key phrase is cashing out. That's bullshit, and I'll tell you why. All right? If I'm a guy who spent thousands of dollars for that last show at Safeco Field, wherever the hell it was that they were talking about for months on end, now I'm like, hey, no, you guys go, like, what the fuck? That's bullshit. Like, that's cashing out. You know, I saw Bob Weir a couple months ago, or about a month ago. He was great. Let him do that. Let him take that show into the Sphere. And I saw some of that Sphere stuff, the U2 stuff on YouTube. I got to do that. It looks pretty cool. I think we know. I think our friend did it. I haven't heard what he said about it. But I mean, is Kreutzmann at least joining back up with him, or like, do they say anything about that? You know what? I don't care. I think this is too far. It's enough. It's enough. Let Mayer go out and do his own thing. You know.
Listen, for me, being I was in an earlier life a big time Grateful Dead fan, and I do believe in the capitalistic ways, and I don't really have problems with bands cashing out here. I got a little bit of a problem with it.
But don't keep saying we're done, and then keep finding, new ways to crawl back in. That's my point. Right?
Are you finished?
Yeah.
Well, I just have a problem. I just have a problem with really 2 points. A band that's sort of given us this hippie ideal and, not about the money and, charity and things of that nature. It does seem to be against that ethos. And I think the other thing for me is, when I hear residency, I think, well, the Sphere, I agree, Andy, very, very impressive. Got to get there at some point to see a show. But for a band that's based on improvisation, and I feel like the residency with the graphics and stuff is going to be a show, and I guess at this point there's really nothing wrong with it, but I just have a problem with the Dead and Company, if I'm indeed right about this, doing a show instead of a concert with improvisation and jamming. It's going to be like cue graphics, and it just doesn't seem to be very Grateful Dead-ish there.
Yeah, and like you said, it's a cash out, so good luck. I don't care.
Good. I like your point. All right, today's Nothing Worthwhile podcast. Billy Joel is back. Is brought to you by New You Life Center. Be the new you, whether it's virtual RF microneedling, hormone balancing. As we said, Vince McMahon certainly doesn't need his hormone balance. That guy is, that guy's like a minky. Laser treatments, medical aesthetics, cosmetic injectables, and medical weight loss programs. New You is where it's at. See what they're all about. Check them out at www.newyoulifecenters.com. Check out their social media. Give New You a call at 602-274-0068 and tell them you want something worthwhile. And you heard about them from Nothing Worthwhile. New You Life Center. Phoenix, Premier Med Spa.
Hey now.
All right, crew. Billy Joel is indeed back, courtesy of RollingStone.com. Billy Joel's new single, Turn the Lights Back On, his first original song in 17 years, has been released. Produced by Freddie Wexler, who has worked from everyone from Justin Bieber and Selena Gomez to Celine Dion and Kanye West. The song is a tender love ballad that doubles as a message to the fans who have waited all these years for new material. It is written by Joel Wexler, British songwriter Wayne Hector, and Arthur Bacon. Let's see here. Joel last shared new music back in 2007 when he released the love song All My Life as a Valentine's Day gift to then wife Katie Lee, and his protest tune Christmas in Fallujah. Groo's last full album was 1993's River of Dreams. We've already heard the quotes about Billy about how he's done music, but it's in his head. He's not really done a lot of recordings. Billy Joel will debut the song live at the Grammys this Sunday, tonight. He'll spend the rest of the year headlining baseball stadiums across the country. Stevie Nicks, Sting, Rod Stewart, all serving as opening acts. Wow. Imagine those three opening acts for Billy Joel. He's also wrapping up his decade-long Madison Square Garden residency on July 25th. Andy's got it queued up. Let's debut it here. Andy Groo, hit the Andy Groo preview page, second column in green. Groo, it's Billy Joel with Turn the Lights Back On.
1, 2, 1, 2, 3, 4.
Please open the door. Nothing is different. We've been here before. Pacing these halls, trying to talk over the silence.
Let's be serious, please.
Try it.
And pride sticks out his tongue, laughs at the portrait that we become. Stuck in a frame, unable to change. I was wrong. I'm late, but I'm here right now. Though I used to be romantic, I forgot somehow. Time can make you blind, but I see you now as we're laying in the darkness. Did I wait too long to turn the lights back on? Here, stuck on a hill, outsiders inside the home that we built. The cold settles in, it's been a long winter of indifference. And maybe you love me, maybe you don't. Maybe you'll learn to, and maybe you won't. You've had enough, but I won't give up on you. I'm late, but I'm here right now, and I'm trying to find the magic that we lost somehow. Maybe I was blind, but I see you now as we're laying in the darkness. Did I wait too long to turn the lights back on? I'm late, but I'm here right now. Is there still time for forgiveness? Won't you tell me how? I can't read your mind, but I see you now as we're laying in the darkness. Did I wait too long to turn the lights back on? I'm here right now. Yes, I'm here right now, looking for forgiveness. I can see as we're laying in the darkness. Yes, we're laying in the darkness. Did I wait
right.
roll, baby.
All right, let me. What did some of our friend of the show, Craig Hassenbein, who's a big Billy Joel fan and a co-host, said the following: overall, I like the new Billy Joel song. It's a bit melancholy. So the first question is it autobiographical? Leads to concern if all is okay with Billy, as he seems to have a great domestic life these days with young daughters. The song itself has a very strong vocal. Billy sounds great on the track. The piano is reminiscent of some of his earlier material with a bit of a Cat Stevens vibe. As much as I can pick on Billy sometimes, this is a solid 3.5 out of 5-star track. Was it worth waiting 32 years for? No, but it's a good song. The disappointment for me is that it's co-written with 3 other people, so how much did Billy, in fact, contribute? My hope is that the fire has been lit, and this will lead to a comeback album. That's what Craig Hassenbein said. I don't know if you want to take a crack at it. You want me to take a crack at it? Give our thoughts of the new single.
Okay, well, if that's an invitation to go first, then I shall accept said invitation. I'm going to start backwards. Was it worth 30 years waiting for? Sure. I mean, it's a new Billy Joel song, and as I've said before, I said it's 100% better than getting nothing. Now, that said, I have to say that Elton John's new song is really fabulous. It sounds absolutely beautiful. You haven't picked up on my sarcasm. This is an Elton John song. This is not a Billy Joel song, and that's my gripe with it. It's a nice song, but it's not the kind of song that Billy Joel. I don't know. It's too in your face. It's too it's got like a Disney-ish kind of like soundtracky thing. I do like the chorus where Craig does. Mention that it's got like a little Summer Highland Fallsy kind of little piano roll there. But again, if you listen to that and you listen to the solo, it truly sounds like an Elton John solo. Like I couldn't get it out of my mind. It sounded too similar, and I've never had that issue with Billy. I always seem to know when he's playing, and it doesn't sound like him. It's too generic, and Billy Joel's songs, if they were never anything, they were never, ever generic. And this is pretty generic. The vocals are good, but it sounds like he's holding back a little bit. Like, I want him to let loose. And he just, I don't know. It's just like the lions in the cage. It sounds like that. And that's how I feel listening to this song. So as a song by itself, judged on its own merit, it's a good song. Nice little power ballad. Maybe not quite a power ballad, but a nice ballad. Some, maybe a little bit overproduced, but that's okay. But as a Billy Joel song, I'm hoping that there's more where this came from, and he can go a little backwards. Anyway, it's okay. I got no problem with it. Just he can do better.
All right. I'll give you my thoughts on Turn the Lights On. I'll start backwards a little bit, too. Let me talk about the 2 things that bothered me as a longtime hardcore Joel fan. The fact that he wrote the song with 3 other people, so he got a quarter writing credit, and it was produced by, as Andrew, referenced, Freddie Wexler, who's produced I wrote on my notes, slick-sounding pop stars like Justin Bieber and Selena Gomez. But to be honest with you, once I got past that, I do think it's a fairly stunning return for Billy Joel. It's part She's Always a Woman, part Let It Be. It's a love song ballad that is strong as anything Billy's done since Stormfront. My thing is I get this is a love song to the fans, almost asking for an apology for being away too long. I think it's a pretty great piece of music for an artist who's been away for almost 2 decades. It's a bit slick like Elton John. And if you're looking for the bite like Andy referenced for earlier work like All for Lena, you're not going to get that here. But putting my biases aside, I did enjoy the song. I gave it a 9.8 out of 10. Turn the Lights On. That's how I see it.
9.8 out of 10.
Yep.
Now,
I had to get past my biases, and once I did, I just said, you know what? I think it's a It's a really nice, sweet song. To the part with the vocals, his vocals are a little bit ragged, but he's in his 70s. He's not going to hit those notes like he used to. So, it's not the Piano Man, but I thought it was a nice, sweet return for Billy Joel. Sure.
A 9.8 out of 10. So what's a 10? Give me an example of a 10 for you.
Well, I referenced it because, if I was looking for something with that bite, like All for Lena, you're not getting it here. You're not getting a rocking sort of Matter of Trust, All for Lena. You're not getting that sort of, attitude. But the guy's in his 70s, and he's so, it just lacks a little punch, a little bite.
So you're great. So you're grading on a curve.
I don't know. Grading on a curve.
Well, like a 9.8. That's like two tiny little things below a perfect 10. So what Billy Joel song would be a perfect 10 for you?
Oh, I don't know.
Name one.
Part man, part monkey. What are you putting me on the spot for?
I'm asking.
I'm giving you.
We're having a conversation. You get so offended if I.
What's a perfect 10? I don't. I'm trying to think of like my definitive Billy Joel. Like, Moving Out to me is like a perfect 10. It conjures up New York attitude. Characterization, things of that nature. I get it. I get all.
What about The Longest Time? Is that a 10?
I don't know. I never thought of The Longest Time as a 10. I thought of The Longest Time as probably like a 9.8 sweet song.
Okay, all right. So as long as you're keeping as long as none of these classics are below, because come on, this song is not gonna last in the echelon of Billy Joel, jukebox favorites. I mean, come on, let's be real about that.
Well, okay, but you're talking about a 30-year period since he's put out a full album. So as a Billy Joel fan, putting those biases aside, I don't really, do I really care that he had a quarter writing credit? Not really at this point. Do I care that he got a slicker producing, producer? Well, better than those crazy singles that he's released with himself as producer that were just very nondescript. I mean, I think here this sounds like a Billy Joel song. It could fit on one of his records, and yeah, I hear you. It is slick. It is a little popish. It is a little Elton-y.
Here's one
I wrote
thing.
It in my notes.
Here's one thing that did intrigue me about this kind of direction, or where I did read. I forgot where I read it, but where this song emanated from. Apparently, this Wexler guy, had access to a lot of Billy Joel melodies or Billy Joel written like compositions that he kind of wanted to continue working on, kind of like what Van Halen did with that last album that they had. And that's where I heard that piqued Billy's interest. So it's like apparently this Wexler wrote the words, but like as Billy Joel, that's he's writing Billy Joel words to Billy Joel music, but Billy Joel's not writing it, but he's going to sing it. So if that's the track that they're going down, then I have to be optimistic, because that means there's some more written stuff out there that means this might be just the tip of the iceberg. So maybe this is a good thing.
Yeah, I mean, I hear you, and I think probably, well, he got a quarter writing credit, so probably he had some kind of kernel. And he, maybe Wexler had it. Maybe he went to Wexler and, I got this Turn the Lights Back or this piano theme. And I'm sure Wexler and his team of
I got this stuff. You could do anything with it. Hey, you knock yourself out. Eh?
Yeah. Now to whether or not whether we're going to see a comeback album. No, you've made a reference, and Craig did as well, about it, further work. If I'm a betting man, I'm going to lean towards no, then yes. So I'll give you my Price is Right, a 49 out of 100, because the guy's never had an incredible work ethic to begin with. And they already posted on Instagram. He was at the Grammys, and Olivia Rodrigo, who's one of those slick-sounding pop stars, was gushing over him, and he was like, "No big deal," I don't know. I don't know if he's really going to revel in the moment, and I don't know nationally. I don't listen to radio, so I don't know if this is going to get any play on, Hits One or pop radio stations, because I don't listen. So I'll just play this on my Apple Music every once in a while when I want to hear, this new sweet song that I do like. I really do like.
And I've listened. It's in my head. I've listened to it, but Billy's not going to want to keep going because the response is already too lukewarm for him, because he's always one who's like, "What do I need to prove? Like, why do I need to deal with this, criticism and shit?" He's always been like that. And now, especially in the age of social media, where even if you like it, you hate it, for whatever reason, he's not going to respond well to that. And I've seen the response to it, and it's
I
like
thought everything I've read has been
but everybody
positive.
but everybody is like us. Everybody's such a critic. Everybody, we can't just sit back and enjoy a song. We have to criticize.
Exactly.
The strings are overproduced, and like, did they sit around turntables in the 1950s and say, that's Twist and Shout is an amazing song, but why don't they turn down the bass a little bit? That's not how you're supposed to listen to music, but that's the way we listen to music nowadays. Especially,
so are you
I'm criticizing us. Yes.
Criticize yourself. I like this song. How dare you?
I'm criticizing the way everybody these days overanalyzes everything, and just like even Craig said it in that, and that's what we do. That's the nature of popular art these days, isn't it?
Yes, but part of my review. So I got to recognize my biases. So
yes.
I'm right there with you as a hardcore Joel fan. I could sit there and nitpick that he's got a quarter writing credit. I could sit, or not nitpick, or just bring up that he's being produced by a very pop, slick producer. But then when I listened to it, I was like, I like it. So just like it for the fact that it's a new Billy Joel record, and it sounds like it could be placed right on Piano Man. It sounds like a Billy Joel song. So just enjoy it. And at the end, I said to myself, just enjoy it for what it's worth. I can get into all the other stuff, and I don't disagree with you. It does sound a little bit very Elton John-ish, but I like it.
And that's not a terrible thing. Like, but the criticism of that is that it's like Uptown Girl. When Elton John sings Uptown Girl, that's not an Elton John song, and he doesn't sing that well. Billy Joel sings that well, so it's like that. That's what I mean by that. It says nothing about the quality of the song. I guess it's more about choice of the song. If you have things you can choose from, I'm curious what they had and why this. But you know what? You're right. Why not just fucking sit back and enjoy it? We have a new Billy Joel song, and that's something to be happy about. Looking forward to seeing him perform it live for the very first time on the Grammys tonight. Maybe he'll do one of those River of Dreams spots where he just stops in the middle and says "F you" to the advertisers. But in this cancellation world, I don't know if he'll be able to do that. But either way, it's good. It's great, And look, as we learned at the top of the show, which we talked about, Carl Weathers, somebody who we've had with us our whole lives, to have Billy Joel still making music at this age, to, you and I are seeing Bruce Springsteen in a month and a half together. So to still have these things, why criticize? Why not just enjoy?
I don't understand. So now you're agreeing with me, but
it's fun. It's fun to talk about on a level, but when the podcast ends, I'm still going to listen to the song and enjoy it. Sure. It's fun to sit here and talk about, just to get thoughts out, but if you're going to sit back and then say this song sucks and I'm getting it off my playlist, based on because it wasn't written completely by Billy Joel, that's That's silly. That's certainly something we can discuss as a criticism of the song in a discussion. But as far as how we respond to it, you know, whether you wear it when you're working out or I wear it when I'm not working out, you know, whatever it is, as long it's there for us to enjoy, and that is reason enough to be grateful and happy. So,
yeah, I mean, I hope tonight he's with his band, not session players, and I hope that they include it in in the set list moving forward live. I'd love to hear it.
Yeah, you know what? Judging by the way Billy does things, I mean, this isn't exactly a stadium rocker, but he'll see what the fans' responses are. That's and then I guess for people like us, it annoys us. But on another hand, you got to look at if the fans don't want me to play this fucking song, I'm not going to play it. They're paying. So on one hand, you could look at it like us, but then we're snobs about it because we've seen it all. So, that's the difference, and I don't apologize for that.
Well, I hope he puts it into the live set.
He will. He definitely will in the beginning. I think whether it stays will depend on the crowd response, and hopefully it'll be nice. Hopefully it'll be good. Hopefully it won't be the bathroom break song. Which, you know what?
Yes.
By the way, you know what the fucking bathroom break song is right now? And So It Fucking Goes. And that's one of his greatest songs. That's how jaded the live audiences are at this. I'm glad he's ending this Madison Square Garden run. Fuck New York. Uh-oh.
All right. I'm down. Groo, let's get to one thing.
South Florida crowds suck, too. Yes.
Most crowds, forget. I don't
we'll talk about it at the Springsteen show when we're being yelled at by two 50-year-olds behind us to sit down.
Yeah, the seats are angled. You don't have to stand up. Hey, man, it's Billy Joel. I want to stand up to turn the lights on. I got some 6-year-old orthodontist from Green Acres yelling at me. Anyway, all right, Groo, we want to give our reaction. On the last show, I recommended Netflix's Depp Heard docuseries. Any thoughts on the train wreck Depp Heard?
Yeah, I guess I'm going to answer my own question because my first question is why would they make something out of this? And then after watching
it's interesting.
I realized the answer is because assholes like you and me are going to sit there and watch it and be captivated by it. Of what a train wreck it is. And you know what? There's something fascinating about sitting there watching it and knowing that this is real life and this shit happened. And it almost makes you feel better as a human being that our scruples, at least on some level, are a little above, these people who have been idolized, for so long. But going forward, I think we need less focus on this kind of stuff and more, I don't know. It's unnecessary. I won't say I didn't enjoy it, but it's not necessary. That's the only real thing I can say.
Oh, well, it must have been a Saturday night, and we weren't doing much, and it caught my attention.
Well, isn't that kind of what you thought of it? I mean, you liked it, but
I did like it. I thought the connection, the ending with social media was very interesting. And then, of course, I loved. Anytime there's a defecation in your bed allegation, that's always a winner for me.
Well, now we got the WWE for that, so
Yes, that's right. Groo, last show you recommended the TED television show on Peacock.
Yes. So what were your? How'd you like that?
I watched. I did binge watch it out within, I think, 2 or 3 days, and the television show is better than the second movie for sure.
Absolutely.
And it's classic Seth MacFarlane, and here's what I'd say about it. It's offensive and fun without offending, and that's always classic Family Guy Seth MacFarlane. And it opened up, yet another avenue for what looked like to be a dormant franchise, and I thought overall, again, I can nitpick a little bit about it, but overall, I thought the show was a winner, and some of the episodes were just an absolute hoot. Well, I sound like an old guy, but I mean, the porno episode was an absolute winner. The mother or the aunt, the mother, the Boston mom is just by far that actress. I don't even know who she is.
I don't know who she is either.
Just tremendous in that role, just tremendous, and I enjoyed it. And I hope they do a season 2.
I'm glad. I think they will. It's getting a good response.
All right, Groo, you want to give us one thing you're watching this week?
Yes. Well, I actually bucked up and did something that I don't normally do. Haven't really done in a very long time, and that is eat a vegetable. No, that is I went to the movies and I saw Wonka. And I'm giving it a very high recommendation. I absolutely loved it. I wasn't expecting to, but I wanted to see it because I did hear it was good, and I am a huge fan of the original Gene Wilder thing from the 70s, and I will say that it was terrific. It was just a lot of fun, happy, joyful, and just beautifully done. That's what I'll say.
Did you choose Wonka because you're a big fan of chocolate?
No, actually, that was worrying me. I was worrying that my blood sugar would go through the roof, but it didn't. It did not lay it on as thick as they could have, and were probably pressured to, but didn't. And that's one of the things that I liked about it.
All right, Groo. One thing
I know you're not going to see.
Well, who's that? What is that kid? That actor? He's in. I find
Timothy Chalamet.
Chalamet. Just the last name alone is annoying me.
I'll tell you what. I'll bet you within a couple months it'll be on one of the things that we have. You can wait till then. Give it a shot. Don't go to the movies to see it. Wait till it comes and give it a shot then. When we own it.
I got 2 for this week. Can I give 2?
Yes, please.
But you don't have to. You don't have to watch 2. But you could pick one of the 2.
Let me hear.
Both on Netflix. Griselda, Latin tinge Miami-based drug cartel miniseries starring Modern Family Sofia Vergara in the title role. It's the same people who gave you all those Narcos mini-series on Netflix. They follow the same winning formula: drama, blood, crime, action in a nice 40-minute package. It also stars Bookie's little sister Vanessa Ferlito as Carmen Gutierrez. Marie picked it up. Somebody recommended it, and it's really good, well acted, violent. She, Sofia Vergara, who I don't really follow too much and never really even cared much about her.
I do.
She is super good in this role, and
does she? Does she? I don't know how you say it. How do you say it these days without getting in trouble? Does she give it her all? Let's put it that way.
There's no. Are you talking?
She
about,
never fucking does that. She's the hottest. Oh my god. Anyway,
if anything, they put prosthetics on her face. They kind of like, for lack of a better word, ugly her up a little bit.
Why are you taking away my 20s?
Shit. And this is the one you'll probably want to check out. I'll give you one other on Netflix. The Greatest Night in Pop, that covers the We Are the World, USA for Africa deal. This is a time when our stars actually had a soul and charity actually meant something. Groo, forget the big names. Huey Lewis got the greatest vocal on the song.
Oh yes,
Cyndi Lauper,
by far.
Cyndi Lauper became a star. Lionel Richie ran the whole night. He was working everybody. It's a really fun, 60-minute documentary, getting all these huge names to be on the same page. You'll never see it again to that level, or that we'll care about it, because I hate everyone these days.
And everybody hates everybody else.
Well, Groo, check it out, The Greatest Night in Pop.
Well, actually, it's interesting you say that, because I haven't seen it, but I did see it pop up on the thing. It's on Netflix, and like you said, and I said I got to see that. There was a documentary made way back about the same thing. I remember it was like on HBO and it was like hosted by Jane Fonda. Are the interviews that they have, do they look recent? Like at least the people who are still alive? Like it looks like it was made in today's looking back on it?
They have Springsteen, they have Sheila E., they have Huey Lewis, they have Cyndi Lauper, they have Lionel Richie. And yes, they're all old, and they're now looking back on it 40 years later, 30 years later, whatever it was. So,
all right,
yes.
Well, seeing that this is an off week for football, that might be my afternoon. Because, as you know, it is almost 2:30 here, so that'll take up another hour. That'll be 3:30. Then I'll go to the bathroom. That'll get me to 6 p.m. And then it's bedtime, There
you go.
Gotta get those 12 hours in before that rough 4-hour workday,
Yeah, I hear you. Groo, for our next episode of Van Damme It, you and I will check out our guy Jean-Claude in a very interesting one. It's 2008 JCVD, in which Jean-Claude, the real Jean-Claude, gets caught up in a bank robbery. Be aware, it's JCVD.
Hey, now. Well, I'm looking forward to this because it's something different. Because I'm really getting tired of like the bad stuff, and I've heard positive things about this. Yes. Very tongue in cheek, very but very self deprecating in whatever way. He kind of tried that with Jean-Claude Van Johnson, didn't quite fire. Hopefully this will be better.
Yeah, JCVD was much earlier than Jean-Claude Van Janssen.
Yeah.
And all right, Groo, for our next episode of Nothing Worthwhile, you and I will hearken back to some comments we made on our last Van Damme podcast, and when we talked about the prospects of Jean-Claude actually playing John Spartan, the John Spartan role in Demolition Man. This produced a robust debate, so I pitched Demolition Man, and the committee accepted it. So we will be covering the 1993 sci-fi action romp starring one Sylvester Stallone and Wesley Snipes. Groo, Sandra Bullock, Taco Bell. Looking forward to this one.
Taco Bell?
Yeah, that was the big.
Oh yeah. I forgot. Yeah, it's been a long time.
Gosh.
It's been a long time. And I'm happy we're doing it because I'm looking forward to watching it again because I haven't been the biggest fan of it, but I've only seen it once. So looking forward to seeing it again and talking about it with you as always.
Yes, that's it. I guess take us out of here, Andrew.
Well, ladies and gentlemen, it has not only been an honor, it's not only been a privilege, but it's more like an obligation contractually that we are here with you today talking about the new Billy Joel track, among other things, all pointing to the mothership, Nothing Worthwhile, which will always be here for you, for me, and for the world. Next week, we're going back to the world of Jean-Claude Van Damme to take a look at his JCVD venture into the TV world. No,
Is that true? Do we want to go JCVD or do you want to go Demolition Man? What do you want to do?
Ladies and gentlemen, next week we'll be doing Demolition Man with Sylvester Stallone and Wesley Snipes, followed almost immediately by JCVD, headed back into the world of Van Damme. And ladies and gentlemen, it's just great to do this on a Sunday with you. So everybody, all together now. 1, 2, 3. Rip 'em!